This fragrance is terrible. Today we are diving into the ultimate Lattafa tier list. We're talking the best and the worst Lattafa has to offer. I'm talking about everything from brioche vanilla to vintage radio EDP. Stick around because you don't want to miss where Camera lands. And it just might be in the dumpster. We finna start this out with a new addition to the collection, which is Azad Zanzibar. Throughout this video, I'm not finna spread on a test strip unless I'm unfamiliar with the scent. But with this one, it's a tropical fruity scent. It has an aroma that is very close to JPG's Le Beau Le Parfum. We'll start the tier list out with an S tier fragrance. The reason why I put it on S tier is because not only is it a very pleasing aroma, but just like JPG's Le Beau Le Parfum, it's very refreshing and pleasing every time you smell it. This next fragrance is a Cologne Dior Sauvage Elixir, so I have a high expectation for it. It's Lattafa's Assad. You know, with Dior Sauvage Elixir, it's known for its spiciness, citrusy freshness, and woods. And while this has the citrus and the woods, it's missing that intensity and warmth that Dior Sauvage brings. Without the spice, it allows the citrus and woody notes to overpower this scent, which keeps it fresh, don't get me wrong, but it's just not as enjoyable and there's not more depth in the woody and citrus notes. I'm gonna put this at like a mid-C tier because when I did test it, it was just falling apart. It's like the citrus notes were the only thing that was left and the woody notes were just fading away. Coming up is one I haven't seen in a while, and that is Lattafa's Ragba. We're gonna do that spray test like I said earlier. Now off the muscle, you think that this would be a very strong fragrance, but just when it dries down, it just becomes fucking ass and loses all that intensity it first brought to the table. It just took it right off the table. And I also just don't like the scent. I feel like this is what like an old woman's antique store would smell like. I'm not gonna lie, I high-key hate this fragrance. Look, I'm so confident that I will never wear this fragrance, to the point where if you catch me out in public with this on, I will give you full legal right to rob and beat the shit out me. And at that point, I'm ranking this bitch a D. Respectfully to Lattafa, this shit ass, bro. First Buns fragrance on the list. Let's hope Rave Now EDP isn't the same. So after further examination, this is another fruity scent. But it's more on the pineapple side of the fruitiness, you know what I mean? Interestingly enough though, with the pineapple, it feels like they take away that tartness it has and enhance the sweet and juiciness of it, making it very intriguing. This is definitely a compliment magnet. My brother and mother both love this scent. This is for sure the type of fragrance that'll turn heads, make you stand out in the crowd, and definitely have a girl starting off a conversation about your scent. I've been a big fan of Rave Now EDP ever since I first smelled it, and nothing has changed. I'm giving this a solid, strong A tier. We're gonna move on to a more fresh option, which is Lattafa's Hayati EDP. I remember Hayati EDP, and what I remember standing out to me the most was the cool freshness it has, with spice balancing it out. But what stood out to me was the sweet undertone it has. Lattafa, I'm gonna commend y'all for keeping this clean and fresh throughout the whole process. From beginning to the dry down, it's been nothing but fresh and clean, which puts this at a high B. Up next is one of my favorites, and I'll rate it fairly like I did every other fragrance. It's Lattafa's Vintage Radio. Go ahead, give it a round of applause. Yep. For those who don't know, this is a very fruity and creamy scent. From beginning to end, I've showed nothing but love to this fragrance because of how great it is. See, with other Lattafa fragrances, you gotta worry if it's gonna lose its longevity, if it's gonna lose its scent. With this, you don't gotta worry about shit. It's just the overall perfect gourmand scent, and I'm gonna put it at S tier. I wish that there was a higher tier I could put this on. Up next on the list is Lattafa's Fucker EDP. This is yet another fresh scent, but unlike Hayati, it really just focuses on being super fresh and clean. And my issue with this fragrance is the fact that it just doesn't have any depth to it. Now, it's reliable, but I feel like it's a C tier fragrance at best. Up next is another fragrance I haven't seen in a while. It's Cade Alferson. Now off the first spray, this comes off very intense, while also giving off a fresh, spicy, and woody aroma. But as it dries down, I really feel like the scent becomes something strange that I can't really dig. I'm rating this bitch a D tier fragrance. Next fragrance up is goddamn brioche vanilla. Like, let me get into my little TED talk with y'all. It's not gonna be long, but holy shit, I hate this fragrance. It's a creative fragrance, but God, it is high-key ass. Look, I see the vision, but it either wasn't executed correctly or it just wasn't meant to be put together. I'm telling you right now, this is gonna be the only F fragrance on the list, and I'm definitely putting this bitch on an F. I'm gonna try and give it a spray and see if I have a change of heart, maybe. Should I even sacrifice my skin, bro? We spraying it on the wrist. I'm taking 15 baths after this shit, bro. I'm rating this shit an F off the rip. Fuck no. Coming up is one of my favorites that I haven't worn in a while. That is none other than Badi Al Oud Sublime. Now, although I haven't worn this in a while, the one thing I remember about it is that it's dumb fruity and reminded me of a smoothie. I actually remember wearing this casually, and I also remember feeling like I could wear this at springtime or this summer. That's even if I make it, but this Texas blizzard is brazy. Pray for me that my roof doesn't cave in the middle of the night. All jokes aside, I'm placing this as a high B tier. As cool as this is, I wish this had a little bit more to it than just fruits and vanilla creaminess. This next one is one of the newer ones to the collection that was immediately off the rip one of my favorite clones. I got got for you Art of Nature 2. When they tell you they showing you the art of nature, they're not lying, bro. They're showing you the capability of nature's flowers. Those flowers plus some additional notes help to give this an elegant gourmand sweetness that's smooth, creamy, and somehow bright and vibrant. On top of that, with its intensity and consistency to smell this good, boy, I'm giving it an S tier immediately. This fragrance is the epitome and definition of smooth. It's Velvet Oud. This is velvety smooth from the suede, with earthy green and warm notes beside it. If it was a ranking of how close they are to their originals, this would be an S tier, but I feel like A tier is a safe place for this. This is inspired by Tom Ford's Tuscan leather. The reason why this isn't an S is because with Tuscan leather, it smoothly satisfies the person smelling it, but with this, I feel like it's just way too intense for me. Unfortunately, with this next one, I didn't like in the beginning, and I definitely don't feel like I'm gonna like it now. That fragrance is Lattafa's Mahir Legacy. See, the scent itself isn't bad. It's like a bergamot, citrusy freshness type of scent, with musk and patchouli probably giving it that clean feel. My common issue with Lattafa fragrances is that they're so intense, and this goes D tier. And what saved this from being an F is its scent. Time for the fragrance you've been waiting for. We'll start off with its original, and that is none other than Lattafa's Kamra. I'm very familiar with this scent. It's boozy, warm, sweet, and luxurious. And after some very careful consideration, I will be ranking this at A tier. Later down the line, you'll see why this isn't an S tier. These two fragrances coming up will not get extra points because they're my favorite bottle designs. But the first one is Lattafa's Eternal Oud. This is a clone of Kirk Dijon's Grand Soir, and a great one at that. This is definitely one of those fragrances that when you're in a crowd, people will be like, yo, who the fuck was that? Who smelled that damn good? On top of that, this fragrance also has a lot of compliment potential. The scent is smoothly executed and isn't falling apart like some of the fragrances on this list. And for that, we're gonna put it at S tier. The next bottle I love is Lattafa Serre. In my last video, I said Omega Shenron when I meant to say Super Shenron. If you're a nerd like me, you know what I'm talking about. He also even got a little Dragon Ball in his mouth, if you see that. So far throughout this list, the newer fragrances have seemed to prevail and do better. This is inspired by Tom Ford's Vanilla Sex. And although I love gourmand fragrances, I don't like Vanilla Sex or this, because it doesn't have any depth to it, you know what I mean? Like there's no florals, there's no woodiness, no spice, no nothing, just vanilla. But on the other hand, I also feel like that's just a safe option, you know, if you just want to smell like nothing but vanilla and just be bland. So we'll put this as C tier because it's not good, it's not bad, it's just meh. The next fragrance coming up is Amir Al Oud Intense Oud, which I'm not gonna lie, I'm high-key scared for. The reason why I'm scared for it is because it still has that same common issue that I'm talking about. It's a clone of By the Fireplace, and my issue with it is that By the Fireplace perfected making it smooth and still intense. While I feel like this can be seen as smooth, but it's just too intense, which is gonna have to make me put this at a very low C tier, damn near almost D tier. We have coming up the Confidentials, which is platinum and in my case Private Cold. I got the off-brand version of a clone fragrance. Both these scents are fire. Platinum is fresh with an Aventus-like aroma, while Private Cold is fruity, juicy, and refreshing. I would say both of these are comfortably intense and are bound to get you noticed in public. Both Private Cold and Platinum can go to A tier. They're both solid fragrances worth picking up. Coming up next is our GOAT, and yes, I'm speaking for you. Lattafa's Kamra Kawa. You should know that I'm already familiar with this fragrance because it's hard for me to go a clone video without mentioning it. You already knew I'm putting this at S tier. This is also why I put the original at A tier, because when I first smelled the original Kamra, I was like, damn, this is really good. And then I smelled Kawa and I was like, holy fuck, it can get way better. Which quite literally killed the love I had for the original Kamra because this was just so much better. Even though I believe I have really solid opinions, don't just take my opinions for it. But I'm pretty sure everybody is probably gonna agree with this. And if not, then it is what it is. If you're interested in buying Lattafa fragrances, go watch my top 5 best Lattafa fragrances money can buy video.